Ladies and gentlemen, what I have for you today is one of the most exciting theme parks of this year in 2023. An absolutely astonishing, massive theme park of 2 islands interconnected with 9 amazing roller coasters, 10 flat rides, go-karts, bumper cars, a hotel, restaurants, multiple plaza areas, and more. One of the coolest theme parks I have seen all year, and I'm super stoked to check this one out. So come join me on today's episode of Park Spotlight. Hey yo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Park Spotlight. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at Champion Gardens, created by chet.b, one of our Discord advanced builders and golden patrons. Thank you so much for your support. We also featured chet.b's roller coaster last week, and he did an absolutely astonishing job with that. And now we get to ride 9 more of them in today's theme park. So what our creator has said for us here today is they implore us to use the POV Tegid Cam, and we might check that out for just a bit. And then they continue to say, my first park, Champion Gardens, what can I say? Definitely bit off more than I could chew with this one. You certainly did, but it's looking worth the effort. This park has one of the first coasters I've built in Planet Coaster, as well as one of the most recent. I learned to play this game through building this park. After it's said and done, I would consider myself more of a coaster builder, as theming has been struggle for me during the entire process. I have to disagree with you. The theming looks phenomenal, as you guys can see from the B-roll in the background. We'll talk about it when we get closer in, but I think you did a good job here. Champion Gardens is a waterfront thrill park complete with 9 roller coasters, 10 flat rides. We already read all this. The park also has full nighttime lighting, glazed with individually placed Sivola, which actually took the least time to do, and views for day. This park is sure to showcase what I've come to accomplish so far with Coaster Builder in this game. For Mako Black Loop Phanta, use track view. For Avion, you just look forward. Okay, this is a lot for us to remember, but I think I'm gonna do a good mix for the audience, but we'll try to do I'll try to keep this up on a separate screen and check out some of these in preferred seat views. What I do recommend to future builders and for chet.b himself, if you have a preferred track view, put that right above where the coaster leaves the station. Just say track view, look forward, or whatever. A nice little sign. It'll guide the person that's riding your experience right there in game without having to have a separate document open for how to actually view your creation. But nonetheless, however we ride these coasters, whatever view we decide to use, they're looking absolutely phenomenal, and I think it's going to be a great experience overall. And this is going to be a great episode of Park Spotlight. So get your popcorn. Probably going to be a long one, and let's get right on into it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Champion Gardens, a beautiful park entrance with a coaster going right over top of the entrance gates here. I mean, that is freaking phenomenal. Can we get a shot of it, please? There it goes. Oh, now that is how you make an introduction and a grand entrance to your theme park. Wow. Good googly moogly. This is absolutely fantastic. I do want to give a shout out to Yure, who built this parking lot. It says here on the Steam page, this park was built on Yure's realistic parking lot. So all of this here is a map that you can download on the Steam Workshop to go ahead and build a park off of. But, you know, I have different feelings on this because how many pieces it takes to place all of this. While it is beautiful, you're already starting off building your park with a massive frame drop. It's like you're already cutting 20 frames off by just downloading this. So I don't know how worth it is. And there is no cars in this parking lot. We have gone ahead and opened up the park to 2,000 or 1,500 guests. There wasn't anyone in this park when I first opened it. So I figured, why not create a better, more immersive experience for us here today? Let some guests in, because the park is actually running really well in most areas. Sometimes we get some dips between, 20 frames and whatnot, but generally we're running pretty smooth overall. So yeah, this is looking phenomenal. I love the way you have themed your coasters. And even though you said theming was your biggest struggle, I completely disagree. Like, look at this. You have this beautiful fountain area, great garden work. I mean, the conceptualization of the elements that you've put in is considered theming, in my opinion. A lot of people look at theming as, you know, how many pirate doodads did you put on your pirate ride? I look at theming as just more art. And this here is a grand entrance. We have like even just like the vines growing up the side. You know, that is theming, in my opinion. You know, we can all agree to disagree. You can say what you will. Even just these lights, if we switch to nighttime, you know, you've gone ahead and put these lights on there. To me, that is elements of theming. So, however you want to make the argument for what is theming, what is art, it's all art at the end of the day. It's all custom, and it's, for me, really well done. Even this pathwork here, you've gone ahead and built. You use building pieces, floor pieces, curved round pieces to create just this nice pattern throughout your boardwalk here on this lakeside view. And you know, that is just attention to detail. That is artwork. And to me, that is beautiful theming. And, you know, just creating these signs for each of your coasters. This is Phanta. And then you've done this intricate, cool little entrance thing built out of custom supports or roller coaster pieces. I have no idea what that is. Or maybe it's scaffold for the, what are they called? Stages. Building stages and theaters. So yeah, this, I actually kind of want to walk this queue at nighttime. Why don't we do that? It's looking really well lit. Really cool queues. And if you look at, like, you know, coasters from other theme parks, Six Flags and whatnot, they usually do some kind of crazy color theme and a nice coaster signage. Wait, I'm getting turned up. I think we're jumping line. No, that's the exit. Crap. Okay, it's supposed to go this way. Here we go. Yeah, other parks, they kind of do a color theme, a few lights, and then a nice grand sign for their coaster, and then a really cool station. And that's pretty simplistic theming overall, right? But I think you've done that and elevated it. This is looking absolutely incredible. So here we go. We have the Phanta RMC coaster. There's a look at all the stats if you want to see them, and we're going to get right to it. And I'm going to switch it back to, no, we'll do day and night. Why not? We're going to make this a jam-packed episode. Oh, this one's at the top of the lift. So we'll check it out at nighttime in this POV, and we'll check it out at daytime in a different one. Yeah, let's go. Wow, freaking wee. So my brain was on a completely different level talking about the theming and stuff. There's so many things going through my mind when I'm doing these park spotlights. I completely forgot to remind myself to do this. On their Steam page, they have a brief description of each of their coasters, and I wanted to read that off to you guys when we got to each of them so we get a better understanding of this creator, some insight to this creator's thoughts. So this is Phanta, and they say, an RMC hybrid that my guests have an absolute obsession with. Phanta, we could probably get on this one for daytime while I read this as we go up the lift. That might actually be the best way to ride this. And in their submission, they said they would like track view, which we just did. So we have served the creator's wishes there. To go on and read what they were saying is, this Phanta is a coaster built with, again, 4-meter pieces that were converted to 12 meters. This coaster has a somewhat of a out and back layout and features 3 inversions. To me, this coaster had a steep learning curve. For a more recent RMC I've built, check out Violent on my workshop page. Well, you're gonna have to submit that because I love doing your coaster spotlights, chet.b. But a 4-meter smoothing trick is a little bit of a method that you could use in Planet Coasters to get coasters more smooth. But it might make for a rickety seat view. So if it's a little bit more rickety this time, that is the reason. Let's check it out. Wow, still really, really nice from this perspective. Chet.b, you've done an absolutely amazing job. We got transfer tracks there. We got realism everywhere. We got the really good nighttime lighting, beautiful color palette used throughout the coaster tracks and the boarding station and queue walk all around. I mean, this is the complete package in my opinion. This is what I love to see from a coaster or a park spotlight, excuse me. If that is just the first coaster of 9 to come, this is it's quality and quantity. But sometimes we've seen theme parks that go up to, you know, a dozen plus coasters. This is getting pretty close up there, but I mean, 9 coasters is going to make for a very long episode, especially with how much path work we have to walk around. They did say they wanted Tegid Cam. We could do a little bit of that. Tegid Cam. Oh, geez, that's kind of weird. Why did it port me over here into a tree? What? Let's try this again. Tracy, you are now Tegid Cam. Ah, there we go. I talked about this in Chet's coaster spotlight, that I felt like Tegid Cam moves too quickly, and people already complained that I move too fast. The black loop. I think this is the one that goes right over the park gates. And if I hold shift, it does slow the camera down, but this is way too much of a crawl. So I don't want to beat a dead horse and talk about it like I did in his coaster spotlight, but this is just to let you guys know, I don't like the stop and go because it's too fast, and I don't like how fast it is. So this is the reason I don't really use Tegid Cam, and then stuff like this happens. Where am I? What just happened? I think we just skipped ahead, so we can continue to go up. Oh, well, now we have arrived. And then getting back into Tegid Cam after going to the coaster might also cause some issues. Anyways, that's my thoughts on Tegid Cam. The Black Loop coaster, there's a look at all the stats if you'd like to see them. What did they have to say about the Black Loop? We could read that as we drop out of the coaster station here. Did they have preferred views? They wanted track view for this guy as well. Here we go. And what they had to say about the Black Loop was, some say this coaster has the missing half of full throttle. But anyway, the coaster is hard to smooth to me. This is a very intense premier rides coaster that has a drop into underground launch tunnel. My guests seem to like this one the most. I mean, it's looking freaking amazing. Wow, I love everything about it. I missed the first little bit of the coaster because I was talking and reading, but I would love to ride this again. But like, try to get a different perspective of which I can move the coaster or the camera around, and we'll do it at nighttime because it seems like we have a lot of nighttime lighting. See, Tracy, our Tegid Cam is back to its original spot. Another reason why Tegid Cam can be slightly infuriating. Okay, let's check this out at nighttime. Wow, I had a little bit of struggles controlling that camera going underground. My apologies for that, but I did my very, very best. But I think it was worth it because not only did we get to see the cool lighting of the coaster, but we also got to see the lighting of the rest of the park from the perspective of that coaster. I don't know what you call this double interlinked inversion. It's really cool, and especially dipping underground like that and over the park gate is such a phenomenal feature. And you had a reverse launch on that coaster, tons of underground elements with the smog and the lighting. The actual station itself is looking really sleek, very modern, almost ominous in some ways, very bold. I really like what you did here. I mean, again, speaking to what you said about your theming not being very good, you call this the Black Loop, and it has this, you know, almost like dark mystique nightclub futuristic look to it, and you've carried that through with the underground smoke. There's almost like a little bit of element of fear there, and I think, to me, that is impeccable theming. The choice of the lighting at nighttime, integrating that oranges and then those blues and greens, you've really kept that going through, and it really takes you around the park. I mean, wow. The creativity here is giving me like insane RCT vibes for some reason. I don't know. This is what theme park video games should be, in my opinion. This is a good experience overall. While we have elements of realism everywhere with what you did with the pathwork and the gardens and the transfer tracks and the queues, it's like you took a slice out of real life and then elevated it into a video game experience. And I just love everything about it. So for me, I think you've nailed your theming. I think so. That is my opinion. What do you guys think? Throw your comments down below. Do you think chet.b is a good theme park themer? Because that is one of their personal self-critiques that I think I disagree with. I think you've done an amazing job. And again, here we have the Avion, and I can see right away we have this really cool coaster sign. It's helping guide me through the park. So it's like, okay, if I go this way, I'm gonna arrive at the Avion Coaster, which is this big blue beast up here. And there's, oh wow, look at the queue. The width of the queue there. I don't think I've ever seen that before. That's hilarious. A gigantic queue entrance there. I can't go up the exit. You've made it very easy. Oh wow, we have like a flying coaster. Wow, the perspectives as we're walking through is awe-inspiring. I get this really exciting vibes coming through here. Yeah, this is really cool. And even just like what you did with the landscape there, you kind of like hid stuff in the background, made us feel like we're nestled into this back area of the park that feels very like a unique atmosphere, very cozy, very inclusive. So I really like what you did there. Again, with these big, bold colors, this is just phenomenal. I also forgot to mention on that previous coaster, there's so many things that I want to talk about and point out and mention. The whole thing had custom supports and done in a very interesting, almost like bold steampunkish way. And you guys probably may have noticed that, but I wanted to point that out anyways. Wow, this is a very interesting looking boarding station. Holy good googly moogly. And it looks like it has a second transfer track here, or it's dueling. No, that's transfer. Yeah, this is right. This one I actually put in test mode because like none of the rides were opened when I opened this park. And I was like, I heard this crashing sound and it was the transfer track falling off the edge. So I definitely like how you included that there, but I probably shouldn't have tested it. So this here is the all right, the Avion flying coaster. There's a look at all the stats if you'd like to see them. I was waiting for a while, and then I noticed that the coaster is stuck at the top of the lift. I don't know why. We're going to put it in test mode and go without the guests. Sorry, guests, I'm going to have to kick you all off. That's a bit unfortunate. Is the ride working properly, or is there something wrong with the settings of which the wait times for guests? If I delete the queue there, it should kick off immediately. And then they recommended that we go track view or look forward. I'm going to do the look forward view. So we get that little bit of a flying experience. And hopefully we don't get stuck at the top of the lift. Hopefully this takes off here. Oh, I am on the transfer track. Okay, so what they have to say about this coaster is a B&M flying coaster that I've spent a good time trying to completely smooth 4-meter coaster after getting a grip after the prior 3 coasters. This was the first coaster I have fully custom supports. Even with only 4 inversions, Avion is definitely a coaster that I find myself going back to ride. Damn. And that is incredibly smooth. What a nice flight of an experience that is. Do we have any nighttime lighting on this? Because I too feel like this is such a compelling coaster that I would like to ride it twice. This time we will do the requested track view, so because that'll work best with the 4-meter smoothing method. So let's give it one more go here. Wow, freaking chet.b. That rolled off the tongue quite nicely. I think I have a new favorite up-and-coming builder in this community. chet.b being an advanced builder, definitely deserving a massive promotion here today. And in fact, I will go ahead and personally pop you up to expert myself, but I want to know from the people in the comments, people viewing this video, does he deserve master builder? Let me know based off of this creation of what we're seeing here today. Would you give this man an even greater promotion? We're gonna have to take a look at his workshop. In all fairness, everybody gets a proper workshop review. If they have enough things on their creation, I can make an argument for master builder as well. And as mentioned, chet.b, you say you have a few other coasters sitting in your workshop page, send them on in, because as far as I could tell, you have your last week's coaster sent in and this here park sent in, and I'm not aware of any of your other creations that you may have or may not have submitted that I would like to check out. So here we have the Hemerythrin. I don't know how to say that. Let's look at all the stats if you'd like to see them. It's an inverted coaster. We have one going up the lift right now. The requested view is seat view, which we will check out here. And they say, I'm clipping this in, so if there's a little bit of a jump cut and it might seem weird, that is because I read the wrong description for this coaster. So for this coaster, it says, this portable B&M inverted coaster is a powerhouse. It features 6 inversions, and it's full of close calls. It has custom supports that have been a pain to look remotely realistic, and has 3-meter track pieces. That is a stellar and insanely interwoven and complicated track layout. I mean, all of the track going in and out of itself, 1,000 meters of track interwoven the way you did it, and the custom supports are really, really crazy. Like nothing I've ever seen before. They're very bold, heavy. It looks super interesting. Rode phenomenally well. Super smooth coaster. I mean, that is sick. That is really, really top quality stuff. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. Again, there's so many wow factors throughout this park that I really, really love. And to Chet's introduction, it was saying that basically this was his first creation ever, or this is some of the first coasters he had ever built was in this park, and he evolved. And what I just read there from the Steam page is that they discovered the world of mods, and they used the mods to improve the controls of which you can use to build coasters in Planet Coaster. So normally you have some limitations within the game, but mods allow you to take those limits a little bit further to add extra bits of realism and polish and design to coasters that you couldn't do normally. So before we cross over the bridge to this coaster island over here, there's a whole other side to this park that I definitely want to go visit. So we're going to do the zoom, zoom, zoom and haul ass to the other side of the park so we can check out what's over there before we cross over. To finish my little tangent there, that Chet has been you started on this park and finished on this park and evolved throughout this park. You don't really see that progression. I don't know what your first coaster ever was. It might just be the one that you listed as number 1, which in fact would be the Mako Coaster. So if Mako was your first coaster, I probably wouldn't even be able to tell because they're all so well designed that it just feels like you've been playing this game for a very, very long time. So even if your very first coaster exists in this park, it doesn't seem that way. So you started off at a much higher quality bar than most builders do. You know, you really set the bar high for yourself. You went back and polished what you started, and it feels to me like you've been playing this game for years. And that to me is super, super impressive. Like, really ridiculously cool that, you know, this here is an evolution of your own creations, but the whole thing just feels like a park beyond. Yeah, this is really cool. I'm a big fan of chet.b. You won me over with this episode, and we're not even halfway through it yet. So I gotta stop gushing, but I'm gonna have a hard time doing that. We have a go-kart ride. I don't know how intricate this is gonna be, but we see a lot of nighttime lighting here, so why don't we check this one out at night? We're just gonna grab a random car. Bump, 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 bump. There we go. That's one thing I had on my mind that I wanted to mention, but I keep forgetting. It was a thought that I wanted to come back to, but there's so many things to talk about in this crazy park that, why does this go-kart feel like it's going so fast? It's just hauling ass. There's so many things I want to talk about in this park, but one of them is the ambience. We have music on this ride, and what a difference it makes. Creates a vibe. I think the music is such a great song choice for the atmosphere that you created. Great lighting, great theming, and it's a fun go-kart circuit with a great soundtrack. Tons of fun. I even like how your flowers kind of have this matching color palette to your lighting. Really great attentions to detail here. This is looking amazing. Great go-kart circuit there. Yeah, so what I was about to say there is, I had a thought at a few points throughout this park, is as I'm walking around the park, and it is a big sprawling park, and it is definitely a difficult thing to do, but to put those ambient speakers around, even just having a little bit of ambience for each of the rides themselves, as you approach them, you have some speakers with some music playing. I think that would have been like the next element that would take your rides and park to the next level. That of being a little bit of ambient music. Now, I usually have an ambient soundtrack in my editing software that I run in the background, just some Planet Coaster music, for when parks don't have the craziest ambience. So you guys probably wouldn't have noticed it, but without ambience and without my background track, the parks can be very, very silent. I tried to do my best to continue talking and pointing things out and that sort of thing so that there's some audible entertainment provided. There we go, the big Mako. That looks really cool. There we go, a stand-up coaster, stand-up steel corkscrew. But we are having more ambience on this side, and now that I hear the ambience, I want to point that out that I didn't feel that way in other areas of the park. And to my previous point is, without my background soundtrack, if I'm not talking that much, it can be awkwardly silent. So I try to either, you know, put some background sound in there, try to talk a lot, and that way you have visual and audio entertainment throughout the entire course of the video. But what's really, really impressive to me is when creators make such an entertaining, atmospheric theme park, both audio and visuals, that I almost don't need to say anything. And when I don't have a chance to speak, I don't know what I want to say about that. It makes it easier for me, but I do like talking about things. I like pointing things out. But it just makes for a really interesting experience through and through, because I don't get an opportunity to say anything because it's so entertaining, is my point. But there we go. We have a little pirate-themed area, and this is feeling very Caribbean. This building's a little bit strange looking. It looks like a Caribbean apartment building of sorts. You've done a really good job at guiding me to all your cues so far, but this Mako, I got a little lost. I'm getting a little lost here. Okay, you have to follow the pier all the way around, and then you get to a second Mako sign. That's looking really cool as well. And here we go. That is the cue that I was looking for. But yeah, see, like the music from the coaster is also helping a lot to create ambient sound in the actual queue walk as we're heading to the coaster. So we don't really need speakers in this area. Just having a soundtrack on the coaster is quite helpful, and that is one of the reasons I tell people to put soundtracks on their coaster, because it creates ambience for the surrounding area. So here we go. This one also seems like it'll be a great nighttime experience. Definitely. We'll do both. I mean, this is one of the few parks that I ever go, I want to ride all of the coasters twice. That is impressive to me. Really, really well done. Here's a look at all the ride results if you'd like to see them. Mako, they would like us to ride this in track view, so we could definitely do that. You won't hear the audio as well, but it'll help me read the description here. The first coaster I managed to complete without deleting first. So you did list them in the order of which you built them, so I was right when I was predicting that earlier. And they said Mako is a B&M floorless coaster with partial custom supports, 6 inversions, and some close calls. I built this coaster using the 4-meter method, and turning those pieces into 12 meters, it has a prefabricated elements. Wow. So again, your first coaster using advanced techniques. That is so impressive to me. Let's check this out. Wow. Again, absolutely phenomenal theming, in my opinion. You had the shark bite at you as well. The Mako, the lighting is just impeccable. is a floorless coaster, so we definitely have to ride this in seat view, in my opinion, for the daytime experience. Why not? Definitely want to ride this one twice. But yeah, keep doing what you're doing, chet.b, and to the level of which you're doing it, because again, I'll say this one final last time, I think the theming is absolutely amazing. Great job. Again, with the realism here, wow, absolutely speechless. This being the first coaster that you decided to build in your park, really blows me away, considering how much of a struggle people have building coasters in Planet Coaster. And you're very humble in your introduction and what you wrote to say about your park. You know, very honest about, you know, the improvements that you're trying to make and the things that you are trying to achieve, and that this is, you know, it's fun that you created a backstory for each of the coasters. And in fact, I would recommend this to everybody that submits a park spotlight. Having a description on your Steam page for each and every one of the coasters that I get to read off as we go and take off on each of them, giving us a little bit of a backstory, you know, getting to know that this was your first creation, that, hey, I didn't do that many custom supports, but I have custom supports here, which I think is super impressive. And then you've evolved that as we go to some of the different rides. As I mentioned earlier, with this custom support structure on this coaster here, and then you compare that to this custom support structure over here, you're trying different variations of support structure, being creative with them. And again, to me, that is art. That is really cool way to define your creation and set it apart from everything else. I'm really super impressed with this. In fact, like, I'm so blown away. Like, that here would have been a great park spotlight episode, what we just experienced over here. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, we have a whole other theme park right here. This could almost be a two-part episode right in and of itself, because this is going to be just as much fun as what we just experienced. So buckle up, here we go, second half of this park spotlight. Here we go. Wow, I almost feel talked out after all of this. Oh my goodness, what else do you have to say? Time to just ooh and ah over the awesomeness that is this park and see what this side of the park has to offer. Also love the fact how it's running just beautifully, and this should lead as example to creators and episodes that we featured throughout this show's history. The Intima, probably an Intima Coaster. But yeah, this should lead example to how much you can build at what level you can build it with, what artistry you can put into your coaster creations and your theme parks, and still have tons and tons of guests in the park to create an immersive experience, but also have it run quite nicely. Oh, look at that. Very interesting layout. 6 inversions on this bad boy. There's a look at all the stats, and they want us to ride seat view for this guy. And what do they have to say about this creation here? Instead of putting another flat ride in its place, I decided to grow Champion Gardens coaster collection by adding this cable launch Intima shuttle coaster built with 3-meter pieces. Cool. Wow, really awesome. Absolutely agree with your decision making there. Rather than having another flat ride to fill this area, adding another coaster to the collection, even though it's simple, it's cool, it's really nicely designed. Yeah, it's a great introduction to this area of the park, and we're going zoomy, zoomy, zoom. This coaster looks absolutely sprawling. There's a look at it there. Oh my goodness gracious. And I think you've used almost like one of every coaster in Planet Coaster. You know, at least one of the most, how do I say this? They set themselves apart. They define themselves. They're not one alike. You know, they're very unique from one another. And I like that. I like that a lot. There's a lot of variety. And it's super impressive. I even noticed there's a 4D coaster at the back. One of the least used coasters in this game. And yeah, that's really awesome. So this Giga here, this is a queue for a carousel. That is the biggest carousel queue. There's only 3 people walking up it. Oh my goodness, that's great. And we have the flat ride there taking you up into the air. Really like what you did with this queue walk here. That's really nice looking. Again, using elevation, while this park is kind of like 2 islands that are technically flat in theory, they're not. Well, on the foot level, there's so much elevation, rolling hills, very smooth and curvy pathwork. I really love to see that depth. Look at this. You've put the flat ride in, but you've also put cables to hold it all up, creating almost like a star-shaped pattern right there. That's quite nice. Very serene, calming music. See, this is what I'm talking about. Ambience goes a long way with theming. And you were talking about that you were struggling with your theming, which I disagreed with. That's one thing you can improve on to help your theming, which you've done in some areas, for sure, is the inclusion of audio. Really makes an area feel atmospheric. This is beautiful. I love the elevation here. The coaster, like the hill goes really high, so high that it has a waterfall going into this koi pond down below with the park, the coaster sign here. And then the Giga Coaster is going right to the top, even higher than all of it. And we've sunken ourselves down low into kind of like a hilly pit just to create extreme heights and depths. The contrast of low and high is really cool. And then we have a double-headed Hydra built out of basic rock shapes there, just to pack a punch. I'm assuming this is bathrooms and shopping. Yep. We're gonna jump back through the gate here. Head on up. Cherry blossom trees. Good switch of foliage choice throughout the theming here. Not just using the same trees and foliage work everywhere. How do I get to the queue? Oh, you do have to go through the shop. Oh, so yeah, okay. It takes you up and in to the queue. That's cool. Maybe we should do this queue walk at night. That is also one thing I never really touched on throughout this park, is the fact that you've given us a full experience, a duality, a yin and a yang, letting us choose how we want to experience this park, whether it be day or night. Both offer an immersive atmospheric experience. and both of them are equally as good as one another, and that is super, super rare to see. Really rare. So much to the fact that I've almost ridden both day and night on every single one of these coasters. Yamagakashi Coaster. There's a look at the stats. 8 airtime counts, 9 seconds of airtime. This one's taken off. Let's get on it. So this one they would like seat view, and what they have to say about this coaster here. Basically a Conda copy, however, the Intima Mega Coaster features a beyond vertical twisting drop along with, compared to the actual Conda, better theming. At this time, I discovered the world of mods with this game, and this coaster has a 3-meter track pieces. Okay, this was an absolutely fantastic experience. I have to ride this once again at daytime in track mode. Let's go. Wow, what an experience. I love how this was a bit of an exploration, really taking us around the themed area, and the actual, probably one of your strongest themed coasters, I would say, just in terms of like the journey, going over these koi pods, through this building here. And then we have the atmospheric oriental music, you know, like as I mentioned, all of this, the buildings are looking really good. The cherry blossom trees, the koi pond, the signs, the double-headed dragon. There's a lot going on here that I think, as we're reaching the backside of your park, we're definitely seeing an elevation in that theming, although I already thought the theming was really good. So you definitely, I could see like a slight bit of progression as we head back to the backside of your park. Tenza, this may be one of the last coasters. Tenza, I don't know if we rode Fayrna. There might be another one in here. Just looking at the Steam page, we might have 1 or 2 more coasters, but what a treat this episode has been. I actually walked up a exit, I think. It might have been. This wouldn't be a park spotlight if I don't go up an exit. So there it is. We did it. Here we go. This is a 4D coaster. There's a look at all the stats. Let's check it out. So this one is suggested to do seat view or orbit. So I think we're going to have to do both. I will do the orbit at nighttime. What they have to say about this coaster here is an Aero 4D inspired by X2. Tenza is a fully custom supported with 3 inversions, and it's Champion Gardens coaster with the biggest drop at 50 meters, built with the 4-meter smoothing technique. Let's go. Wow, what an experience, a disorientating experience at that. We're gonna have to turn this to nighttime, then do, they said seat or orbit. What is orbit here? So it gives us the ability to control the coaster. We're gonna try to follow this around and see what it looks like with all the guests spinning around. Let's check it out. Now, sadly, there's not too many people in the queue for this coaster. It looks like we only got like three people on this guy. Well, they're in for a treat. Holy crap. Oh, that is fun. Wow. Wow, freaking we. What an experience this has been. I've been smiling ear to ear this entire experience. This is the reason why I keep doing park spotlights here after what, 570 something episodes. We're coming close to episode 600, guys. In fact, this should have been episode 600. I try to do something epic for each of the 100 episodes, each of the gigantic milestones throughout the years of doing Planet Coaster here. Looks like we have one more coaster. Is this it? Yep. I knew we missed one. Fayrna? I don't know how to say that. Let's go make our way down the boardwalk here. The pier, the lakeside walkway, however you want to say it. And into this crazy Gothic cathedral. This is looking different. Looks like you tried to make something with different pieces than you've used so far throughout your park. Lots of variation and design throughout this experience so far. It's really been captivating. I think a lot of people will be inspired by this creation and hopefully take some notes, because yeah, I've been absolutely gushing over this. And chet.b, one of the new up-and-comer names. I want to see more. If you have more park spotlights, Chet, send them on in. You're going to get an immediate priority spotlight feature. I mean, he already gets it because he's supporting the show through the Patreon program. And how lucky am I that this creator has not only delivered some of the most insane experiences that I have seen, that have been an absolute joy to feature, but they also support the show through being a patron. So definitely appreciate your support and appreciate the hard work gone into this. And it's made for a very, 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 very fun and enjoyable experience. So I'll be definitely enthusiastic to check out whatever you send in the future. And you are on my radar, good sir. So our last coaster, sadly to say, the fun has to end eventually, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are at the Fayrna Coaster. I don't know how to say it, but we're going to assume that's what it is. We have 3 inversions, 4 airtime counts. This one's loading up. What was our preferred seat for this guy? Seat view. So why don't we check it out in seat? We'll hop over to the next train. Not that one, not that one. How many trains you got on this thing? 5? 6? 6 trains running on this. The most trains we've seen on any of the coasters so far. And the description here says, this coaster I've spent many times contemplating about its theme. This multi-launch LSM Intima Blitz coaster traverses through the terrain and features 3 whippy inversions. One of the smoothest coasters in Champion Gardens. Ooh, hyping it up. Let's go. Another really interesting feature, almost simulating a Mobius-style dueling coaster in some ways, how the trains actually line up and duel together. We can see coming up this launch here, if I go into orbit view, there was a really good shot that I got in the B-roll for the introduction of this video, and it was actually for this coaster here, where look at this, they come up and they line and they almost give each other a high five going across. That is just a really cool feature. As mentioned previously throughout this park experience, each of the coasters has done something unique and interesting, whether it's just using the coaster elements in a unique way or pushing the theming or the elements. We had reverse launches, 4D coasters, you name it. We've seen it all pretty much, except for the traditional Woody. You didn't put a wooden coaster in. I think I'm actually okay with that, because what you've done with these coasters so far, it has been so unique and interesting that I don't even know if you could bring something new and interesting to the table with a wooden coaster, because each one of these coasters has far more interesting elements than a traditional Woody can do. Instead, you've decided to go with an RMC, and look what you did with it. This is absolutely insanity. Holy crapola. Which coaster was this? That was the Phanta, one of the first coasters we went on in this episode, if not the first. Champion Gardens, ladies and gentlemen. It packed a punch right out of the kicker. I mean, wow, with that, just that welcoming park, the plaza with the coasters going over top of the gates like that. A massive, I don't know if the parking lot was adding anything. What do you guys feel about these parking lots? Did it elevate it? Did it add to it? But this is a massive sprawling park. As mentioned, even if we just visited this side of the park as a mini park, boom, would have been a great episode. And then combine it together, this is a full-fledged mega park, in my opinion. We would have, I don't know how long this episode's running. I don't have a timer on this recording, but definitely a mega park, end to end, full experience. Again, good frame rate, lots of guests at the park, full immersive experience in that regards. Worked both great at day and nighttime. Great directional forces guiding me through the park. You know, big signages leading me to the entrances of the coasters. Barely ever got lost. Good vista points and all that. I just knew where I was going going and what I wanted to see next. And it had just a really good flow and a good layout, all bringing you back around to central areas, leading you to another attraction. It was just one after the other, just a wow jam-packed episode. This is what it's all about here in Park Spotlight. Absolutely leading by example is Chet.b with this absolutely wondrous creation here today with Champion Gardens. I'm all talked out after this one. Wowee. Like I've said everything that I wanted to say. I've praised this to the ends of the earth, and all I can say is I want to see more from this creator in you, Chet.b. You know, your one humble critique about yourself is that you don't think your theming was that good. I highly disagree. I think what you've done here, elevating the boarding stations to the coaster theming, to the realism with the transfer tracks and the custom supports, to how you led the queue walks and the surrounding areas, even, you know, moving over to this Asian themed area back there. You had the koi ponds and the ambient music and the cherry blossom trees. I think the theming did improve in some areas and did elevate and change as you went throughout. But even just looking at an area like this, the scrappy terrain and what you did with the trained painting tools and the foliage and stuff, it's just really good artistry. So even though it doesn't have crazy over the top theming in some of those areas, the artistry still exists to impeccable, masterful levels of detail. And that to me is a winner everywhere. I guess my one critique would have been some areas feel like they lacked a little bit of ambience, especially this area here. Yeah, I could have just used a little bit of music or some speakers, but I think generally the rest of the park did have some ambience in most of the areas. So you definitely hit it there. So all I can say is don't forget about some of the areas in the future, because I do think that adds a little bit. But a very, very minor critique overall for what I already gushed over on an absolute stellar. I'm gonna give this I don't really rate parks, but this is definitely a 9 out of 10, a near perfect experience for me. Yeah, this was just absolutely amazing. And this being your very first creation ever, you guys better watch out for when a chet.b submission comes to the channel. Prepare for a good experience. Did you guys like this park as much as I did? Was this worth gushing over? Am I losing my mind, or is this just next level awesomeness? Let me know down in the comments below. And one more message to Chet.b: send in your stuff, because we want to see more of it. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Champion Gardens from Chet.b. What did you think? Fire away down in the comments below. And that is going to do it for me in today's awesome episode of Park Spotlight. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye now.